So about a year ago, we installed these Mrcool DIY mini split units, and you can watch a video of how to install that here. So we are going to do a quick review of our experience, what we've learned over the past year of having these units, whether we would buy it again or not, what we like about it, what we don't like about it. So yeah. So first, what I want to do is go through the things that I really like about the units that we have. Number one, it was easy to install by myself. All I had to do was hire an electrician for the complex electrical work, but I could do everything else myself. The line sets came pre-charged with coolant, refrigerant, so that I could just connect them on either end, one on this end and one outside at the condenser, and it was just plug and play. You just hooked it up, turned it on, and it was good to go. So that was really convenient because it saved me a lot of money. Another thing I really like about these units is that it is much more affordable than having like gas heating or oil heating or electric space heaters or baseboard heating. There's a lot of really different ways to heat your home, and this is a pretty affordable way to do it. And it's still electric, so you don't have to have any special type of setup. You just run a new line from your breaker for this setup. Another great thing about this unit is that it does both heating and cooling. So you don't have to have one unit doing cooling and one doing heating. So a lot of houses, basically your setup is you have baseboard electric heating in the winter, and then you go to the basement in the summer and break out your AC, your window unit, put it in the window, and that is just a lot of work. So this just stays on the wall and it's always there. So all I have to do is change the mode on the remote. There's some things I have to say about the remote, and I will get into that later. So when you have a window AC unit, it prevents you from being able to use that window in the summer. A lot of people like to just open up their window when it's a cool night and have some like natural air flow, but a window unit gets in the way of you being able to use that window for anything else but having a big ugly window AC unit in there. So that's one thing we love about having the mini split unit. It's also great at keeping the place warm in the winter and cool in the summer. We have not had any issues of cooling the place down when it's wicked hot outside, and we have not had any issues keeping the place warm when it is freezing cold. So that is a great thing about this unit. Another thing that I like about this unit is that it is pretty low maintenance. So far in the past year, I have not had to do anything except for change the batteries in the remote because the unit itself is patched into the electricity of the house. So if the house electricity goes out, then I lose power to this, but that rarely ever happens. So I don't really have to worry about too much day-to-day maintenance or upkeep. Eventually I might want to have an HVAC tech come and just make sure it's running really well, because what I have heard is that if you don't keep up with regular maintenance, maybe once a year, then they can start to become less efficient, and then you start paying higher electricity bills, which means your experience goes down. So we're gonna try to keep up with that. I just wanted to include a quick I guess recommendation here. I purchased these units online. I purchased them through a place called Ingram's Water and Air, and I have had such a great experience with Ingram's Water and Air. They had the lowest price for the units that I bought, and I'll actually include maybe a description here of the actual model number that I purchased. We got big sets. There were four. It was a 4-zone mini split system for up here, and then downstairs there's actually another unit, and so we bought a 3-zone unit or setup for downstairs. Both were kind of the same model number. So anyways, I'll include a link, but if you purchase these units, you're going to want to purchase them from Ingram's because they also have amazing customer service. I've had to call them a couple times just with like little issues I wasn't sure about. They do a good job of putting out different videos of helpful tips on how to use your air handler, and I've just found them to be a really good resource for me as well. And the cheapest price, which was amazing. So they actually have a pretty convenient app that you can use to control all of the air handlers in your whole house. And you don't have to necessarily be next to one. You can just have your units connected to the same Wi-Fi that your house uses. As long as these units are connected to the Wi-Fi, I can change it from anywhere in the world. Some other cool features of this, I guess these are more pros, okay. So I can, like, if I want to turn up the temperature, because my room is cold but I'm going to bed, I can set a timer and it'll turn the AC unit off in however much time I want to have. So I can just keep on going around and adding time. I tend to do maybe half an hour if I want to get some heat in the room and then turn it off. I'll just start the timer and it'll submit that, and then in half an hour it'll turn the AC unit off. So that's pretty cool. You can also set these schedules, or what's called a comfy setting. I can go to E-Saver, just energy saver, and go up to the comfy mode and set what my comfy mode is. So if the temperature, I set it so that if the temperature falls below 70 degrees, then I can tell my unit to power on automatically. So I don't have to wait until I feel cold to turn it on manually. I can just set it to automatically know that, which again, because this unit is not automatically calibrated, sometimes it has a hard time of knowing exactly what temperature it is in the room. So I would suggest to Mrcool to fix that and make it easier for maybe the remote to tell what temperature it is in the room. And I haven't mastered all of the settings that this app has, but there's some really cool features. So if you have these units, you should definitely check it out and figure out the best way to use these units in your home. Another thing that I actually really like about minisplit as opposed to central air is the fact that there's no ductwork. The units have copper pipes that go through the wall and then straight down to the condenser unit, which means there is zero chance for mold or any sort of moisture to start building up in ductwork. That's a common problem for people who have mold issues like my wife does. Ductwork is a breeding ground for mold. So we will never have that issue because there is nowhere for mold to even grow. So that's a great thing about every single mini-split unit. Not everything about this unit is all spectacular, and right now I'm going to talk about some of the cons that I've found over the past year of using it. Number one, so when we first installed these units, I started getting to know how to adjust the temperature and everything, and I came to find out that the units are not actually automatically calibrated to the right temperatures, so you actually have to calibrate the temperatures yourself, which means that this unit, which says 75 on it, I have it set to Fahrenheit, it's not 75 degrees in here, and I haven't spent all of the time to go in and fix it every time it gets a little off, but it's probably closer to 68 degrees or 70 degrees in here. And so that temperature gauge isn't 100% accurate. So the way that you have to change the calibration is actually in the app. I haven't found any other way to do it. So you have to download the app, and then you go to whichever unit is that you need to calibrate. So we're here in the living room. And then we go up here to the settings, select preferences, and then calibration. And right now it's saying that the living room temperature is 72. If I know that it is 68, I just go down here and select -4 degrees. And when I hit done, it actually changes that to 68. And this is the existing temperature on the device. So that's what you have to calibrate, because the unit itself just makes a guess. It might be close, but if you want your unit temperature setting to be accurate, then you have to calibrate what it's reading before that can be accurate. What I found with this is that when you change the setting of the louver, basically this thing that directs the airflow, it's very inconsistent. Sometimes with one unit, you click the third setting and it'll be all the way open, pointing straight down. And then sometimes a unit in another room, I hit the same button and it only opens just barely. So if I were to suggest something to Mrcool, would be to figure out a way to make all of these settings for the louver function the exact same, so that you can have complete control over it, because I don't feel like I have complete control over it. Another con that I wanted to mention well, this isn't really a con, it's just kind of like something I wish I would have known, is even though I have 4 different air handlers in my home, they cannot be used for more than one different thing. So what that means is if 3 units are heating and in one room it's pretty hot, so I want to cool that room down, I cannot set that room to cool. It will not cool. It will actually just turn off the unit. So what you need to just keep in mind is that when you have one condenser unit that is going to multiple different air handlers, they all have to be doing the same thing. So it's either all heating or it's all cooling, but just kind of keep that in mind as you go about thinking about whether you want to install these in your home. My suggestion to Mrcool would be, since all of the units have to be doing the same thing, there should be a way to link them all so that when one of them is changed, it's changed on all of them. I can do that pretty easily from the app without having to use all 4 of the remotes, but I just kind of wish that I could change it one time and have it affect the whole house. Similar to how you would go to your thermostat with like a central air unit and just change the thermostat, and it would change the temperature for the whole house. That would be super convenient. In order to show you my next con, I'm gonna show you the remote. So this is another con that I don't like. That happens all the time. I have these mounts that came with the units that are on the wall, which is great because it's just like a central air, or like I can just go to it and press the button and it changes the temperature on the unit. But every time I want to pull it out, it tends to do that. There is a way to like do it so that it doesn't happen, but I don't know, it's just kind of like you're not thinking about it. So you just want to pull it out and it just pops off. It's just really annoying, and it happens more than it should. So, and it's really just because of this design here. If it didn't have this little ledge, nothing would catch on this piece. So yeah, that's just kind of a poor design choice. So the reason I have 2 side by side is because I have 1 unit in the kitchen over here and 1 unit in the living room over here. Both are in range of those units, so it's nice to have them next to each other in one place. If you are sleeping in a room with a mini split, you probably might not want a light to be shining from the wall as you're sleeping. So you can just press the LED button and that will turn it off. So maybe this doesn't bother everyone, but every single time you press a button on this remote, it makes this really annoying beep sound, and there's not really any way to turn it off. So that's something that I wish they would change. Down there we have our condenser units, and you can see both of them. They can be somewhat loud when they're operating, so that's just something to keep in mind where you put the units. We have them right next to the sidewalk, and they also blow air, so when someone's walking by them and it's cold out, you're even more cold because you're walking by something that's blowing cold air on you. So those are my thoughts on the pros and cons of the Mrcool DIY units. Hopefully this was a helpful video for some of you who are deciding whether or not to get it and whether or not this is the right unit for you. So if you like this video, please click like down below and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.